Today, despite being shut out 2 times in 3 games, the Mets fight on. Game 4 is happening at Citi Field, and Carlos Mendoza and company have a plan. We're going to break that down, especially from the pitcher's perspective, on this edition of Mets Digest. What's going on, everybody? Flobo Boyce here, rocking along with you. Me, alongside Mike D'Angelo, are here to bring you the best news and notes when it comes to the Metropolitan. So do us a favor and hit that subscribe button. You don't want to be in that situation where you're like looking at content, not knowing when new things are going to break. It is a really high level week over here in Queens and abroad and globally. So do yourself a favor. Don't be in that not subscribed crew. Hit that subscribe button. Now that's out the way. Let's take a little bit of a heart-to-heart, talk-to-talk. I don't know about you Mets fans, but I'm a little bit torn. True. Here's the facts. Game 3 at Citi Field seemed to be a must-win after splitting the series in Los Angeles. Having the extra nudge would be good for our prospect. You had Doc, you had the straw throwing out the ceremonial first pitches and all that. And it kind of started off okay. Severino did his thing on the mound. Didn't really go the way he wanted to. We're down 2 runs, and everything kind of blew up after that. It did us no favors that the Fox broadcasters had an incredible Dodger bias. Did us no favors that the strike zone was like a lava lamp. It was narrow, it was wide, it was narrow, it was wide. But to be fair to the officiating, it was pretty much even on both teams. So it was a loss. It was a shutout loss. It was a massive loss in the cold, and everyone has a bunch of theories about what the Mets need to do. Why am I saying all that? Well, for one, most Mets fans got to realize that we got to be a lot more positive and support our team. I hate the phrase positive Mets fan because we need to all be positive. You do yourself no favors by saying that. We got to ride for our guys. And I understand we're looking for those wins. We're looking for championships, but things will happen that put us on our course. But the second reason why I'm bringing this whole up is that this kind of leads into the Mendoza game plan moving forward. Game 4 is also at Citi Field, and it's one that has a bit of importance on its own. In fact, as I record this, the lineup was just released by the team a moment ago. So some things kind of stick out to me, some things don't stick out to me. Let's go through it. Quintana, it's basically the best weapon we have. Look in that bottom corner, 0 wins, 0 losses, ERA 0, which is an anomaly this deep into the postseason. We're taking on Yoshinobu Yamamoto, so you need all the best help you can get. It is all hands on deck, and so that might give us the best possibility. In fact, Carlos Mendoza had something to say about the situation. He goes, "We're facing Yoshinobu Yamamoto." Mendoza says, "Look at his reverse splits against right-handers, and sure, that is a fair point." Talking about the lineup changes, there's no obvious advantage to winning a lineup against him and lefties. Well. It's going back to that lineup there. So we saw Quintana there, but we also saw a lot of right-handers in the lineup. JD Martinez is in the DH spot. There was some clamoring online to put Winker there, or even the hobbling Brandon Nimmo, who's suffering from plantar fasciitis. In fact, Mike D'Angelo will go into more detail later on today. And there's also talk about having some of the energy not on the field also with Winker as well. But it looks like we're riding with Martinez in DH, and we're riding with Alvarez at catcher. Now, this makes sense from a defensive standpoint. In fact, I would say of all the combinations in baseball, the battery, if you will, Alvarez really works well with Quintana. But if you were watching the game yesterday, game 3, Francisco Alvarez's problems at the plate was something that got magnified on a day we didn't even score. Now, I don't know about you. I can't really drag the 9-hitter. He's not necessarily expected to be the main offensive driver, but if you see a situation like that, he's quick to be the GOAT, or quick to be the scapegoat when it comes to situations like that. Carlos Mendoza is like, "Look, man, Alvarez is going to catch tonight. I trust my guys, and so that's what we're going to do." And that may make me feel a little bit nervous, but I kind of understand where Carlos Mendoza is coming from, because frankly, he's been doing this the entire season, sticking with lineups, small changes, small tweaks. And even though I think in the last month we lost 2 games in a row, or 3 games in a row, with that 1 game in Atlanta, the other 2 being postponed, and then losing 2 in Milwaukee, the season felt over, and but then we went that crazy run. Here's a look at the regular season numbers for Quintana. A lot of people would say probably this would be the day the wheels fall off where it comes to his 0.0 .00 ERA, but that's if you're only Mr. Doom and Gloom. That doesn't sound like me at all. And here's the other side. Yoshinobu Yamamoto, here's somebody that was signed to the Dodgers with major fanfare, has a lot of enemies in Queens, as the story goes. He basically listened to the Mets offer, got dined, and decided to take his business to Hollywood for that amount. Even though he suffered from injuries, he's really come back to really be that secondary ace for a team that needs him like that. So it's going to be a decent matchup. The Dodgers bats have proven that they can go at any point in time. And I don't know about you, maybe I didn't really appreciate the showmanship or the gamesmanship of Gavin Lux is doing the pimp job and showing Ohtani waving and stuff like that. So here's a must win before the must win, if there ever was one. Now, as it stands right now, the Dodgers did themselves a lot of favors in that Game 3 win. Fangraphs listed them as a 77% chance of winning the NLCS, which puts us a little bit less than 23%. But, you know, as anyone who knows anything about percentages and odds, like in Milwaukee, we have since done away with those and really defied expectations. So either way, because of the situation we're in now, where we have Quintana pitching Game 4, to lock it away at Citi Field is no longer an option, and now have to look to Game 5 as well. In fact, we can confirm that Kodai Senga will be giving the ball for Game 5. And even though Kodai Senga on his return against the Phillies was pretty good, some would say lights out, some would say above average, his Game 1 appearance left a lot to be desired. This is a situation where a lot of runs were allowed under his watch. The ball had no movement, and he was considered the scapegoat of Game 1, although you really can't call a pitcher a scapegoat if the offense doesn't score at all. Meaning you can have Jacob deGrom come back and still pitch a gem, and if we don't score, we can't win. That said, Mendoza sticking with his guys. He is not going to reactively change the lineup, maybe to our benefit or maybe to our detriment. I'll let you guys decide in the comments below. But I thought was kind of interesting on when it came to Senga, why Mendoza decided to go with Kodai. He says he's an ace man. This is him talking to Anthony Como, who writes for the Mets for MLB.com. This is a guy that we saw making a start against the Braves in July. He was lights out. He pitched against the Phillies, and he was throwing 96 and 97. It was one pitch that Schwarber got him, but other than that, he was pretty good. And then we're reacting off of one outing where he did not have it. So I'm pretty confident in giving him the ball. Now, if you are a casual Mets fan, or maybe you're just a playoff baseball fan, put it that way. So I'm not trying to gatekeep fandoms, but let's say you're just someone who's like turns on playoff baseball. You never saw the Mets. You may think this is totally crazy. What are you doing, man? Give us something. Kitchen sink. Move around the lineup. But if you think about how Mendoza's been operating all season, it is pretty much par for the course. You remember in August when Quintana was literally the worst pitcher in our rotation, he stuck with them and he paid off dividends. Or Severino was kind of considered maybe he was done, or maybe he reached his inning limits, maybe he was kind of finished for the year, didn't win around 2 weeks after that point and shot a complete game. So I understand the logic. I understand you want to be reactive, maybe be a bit more reactive on these substitutions. We don't want to blow up the lineup for the sake of winning it. Even if you drop the game, there's still theoretically a chance to take one at Citi before going to Los Angeles. I have to keep that in mind. And it does seem the whole world doesn't want you to win this series anyway, because, again, those Fox broadcasters, I mean, I know they're supposed to be objective, but getting the play-by-play for the Dodgers to call a Dodger series is kind of suspect, but not here to stir the pot. But I understand having some tools, some plan Bs and plan Cs. If Kodai doesn't work, if Kodai does work, we saw the platoon between him and Peterson. It can be featured again. There is some options out there. We all know that Kodai is going to be limited, but again, maybe there is a lot more thought to this. So going back to today, going back to Game 4 in a must-win before the must-win, we see the lineup pretty much staying the same over the day. We see JD Martinez in. We have Winker on the bench in case something would come up. So it's kind of like a replication of Game 3, but there may be something that we don't know. That said, though, if I were to be Mr. Doom and Gloom, even though Shohei Ohtani got that massive foul ball home run, not throwing shade, those guys, Betts, Freeman, and Ohtani, for whatever reason, aren't really hitting on all cylinders. So this couldn't be a game we steal, or this can pretty much expose the entire strategy at all times. So I understand why people are upset, but I'm going to be honest with you. I know this is a Mets channel, and I like to approach this as a journalist. I try to get all the sources I can. But I'm a fan first. And no one expected us to be here. The Dodgers are here year after year. Half of our team are free agents. Bader, free agents. Manaya has a club option, a player option he may decline, or he will decline. Pete Alonso is in his walk here. McNeil and Marte have 1 year to go. Iglesias is pretty much on a 1-year contract. JD Martinez is on a 1-year contract. This may be the only time you see this group together. And I understand the desire of getting a world championship. Like, I was just a baby when they won it the last time. And I'm a grown-ass man now. I get it. I really do. But as it is right now, we have to enjoy what this team can do. And I urge anyone listening now to support the guys, support your boys. Because this lineup won't exist next year. And this year already has given us a lot of moments. And I know for some, it's a zero-sum game. You got to win it all. But I don't think it has to be either or. Enjoy the time. Enjoy the boys. Support the guys. Hope for a win. Wish for a win. But doom and gloom won't really help you out. I end every video this way, and I mean it more than anything else. It's LGM to the bitter end.